What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and we have the official information for not only Kozuki Oden V2, but also Kinemon and Denjiro. So we're going to be talking about these two brand new characters, talking about their regular in-game abilities as well as their Pyro Rumble abilities, which we have as well. And these units seem incredibly powerful. And one thing that I guess we can't really 100% confirm at this point, but it's all but confirmed that it is not going to be a Super Sugo-Fest, because there is no final tap on any of these characters. So I guess that is both a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing in that people don't have to, feel obligated to pull on these types of Sugo-Fest, because, one of these characters or both of these characters would be like limited to those banners. But also saying that though, it is also kind of a bad thing, because it's not a Super Sugo-Fest. People might not want to pull on it, which means that, you don't get access to these characters, which are both really, really good characters, I must say. These characters are very, very strong. So I guess we'll just jump into it and leave your thoughts and opinions about these units down below in the comment section. These guys are pretty strong. So let's start off with my man Kozuki Oden. Let's start off with his regular abilities. Let's go ahead and pull it up here in a brand new tab so we can zoom in here. So the captain ability of Kozuki Oden right here, right above my face cam, reduces the charge time of your entire team by 1. It will boost Slasher and Free Spirit characters' health by 1.35, which is pretty substantial. Also gives those characters a 5 times boost, and then boosts their attack to a further 5.25 if an enemy was defeated in the previous turn, which is very easy to achieve. And then also makes sign-in slots beneficial. So pretty simple. -1 cooldown, health, attack, and then matching slots. Like, it's a pretty simple, very, very, very basic, but for both Slasher and Free Spirit, this is really good, because, Slasher and Free Spirit are amazing classes in particular, especially together. Slasher by itself is fine, Free Spirit by itself is very usable, but both of them together, great combo, right? If we just briefly go over here, you can see that Oden himself is a Psi unit. He's actually a Psi, Slasher, Free Spirit, and you'll see here, he actually has the brand new potential ability that we were really wondering what character is actually going to gain this effect. And the thing about it is that this effect is pretty bad, because all it does is get rid of the special lock mechanic. That's all it really does. So in my opinion, I think it's a pretty bad potential ability set. Pinch healing is okay, Enrage is fine, and I guess it kind of makes sense. I would have really preferred barrier penetration. I think that would have been a way better fit for the character. One thing that is not listed here is his support effect, so we may have to try and locate that somewhere, because it's not actually on this list. But Oden's special ability is like super unique in the way that he says that he adds 0.25 to any attack or orb boost that is launched after this special has been launched by a Slasher or Free Spirit character for 3 turns. So what this means is it's actually a new style of buff. Over on the Japan Twitter, they gave us a bit of a sneak peek of these characters, and you'll see that there is a little plus symbol here. This plus symbol comes from Oden, and it says that any attack or orb boosting effect done by a Slasher or Free Spirit actually gets buffed by 0.25. So what it means is if you launch Oden's special first, and then you use another special like Roger, right? Roger, who gives you, a 3 times attack or orb boosting effect, or it's actually an attack boosting effect, it becomes a 3.25 as soon as you launch Roger. So it's pretty cool. They just become super buffed straight off the bat. So he does that, and then it says if the crew's health is 80% or above when you launch the special, you get a 2.5 times color affinity boost to Slasher and Free Spirit for 1 turn. Not a big fan of color affinity boost, but it's fine. If you're not above 80%, it actually is a 2.25 times color affinity boost for 2 turns, which is actually pretty good. But then it continues on and says that if the crew has a color affinity boost when you launch the special, he will boost your Slasher and Free Spirit character's attack by 2.25 times for 3 turns. And if your crew's health is 50% or below when you launch the special, he reduces damage by 95% and heals the crew by 10k. Pretty good, honestly. Like, it's pretty basic. Like, it's not super difficult to understand, buffing other specials. You get a color affinity boost. If you already have a color affinity boost, you get an attack boost instead. And if you're below 50%, you basically can tank anything, which is pretty good. I like that a lot. It's just very, very basic. Nothing really broken about it. But one thing we haven't talked about is his superclass. Now, his superclass says here that it does require certain characters on his crew, including like the regular guys: Kinemon, Kanjuro, Raizo, Kiku, Shutenmaru, Dogstorm, Cat Viper, Kawamatsu, Denjiro, Momonosuke, Hiyori, Roger, and Newgate. I feel like there's a couple of omissions here, though. I feel like the addition of Izo would have made a lot of sense. I think Izo should have definitely been on the list, as well as the fact that there's no Toki. Now, I get that Toki can already proc, like Legend Toki can already proc, because Momo and Hiyori are included in that character, but any other Toki character that comes out in the future that's by herself doesn't activate the superclass of this character. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, why is she not included? It's just very, very bizarre. Either way, superclass special changes all slots into matching and then boosts the chain multiplier by 1.25. It's a great superclass special and very good for the character, considering there's no way to manipulate slots with this special. At least he does give you more matching slots as a captain, but the fact that his superclass special gives you the slots guaranteed is just great. So, so far, I think this character is exceptionally strong. Now, shout out to Godot for posting this in the One Piece Treasure Cruise subreddit Discord, but the support of this character on the final stage boosts the affinity of slashes by 1.5 times and attaches to the exact same characters as his superclass requirement. This is an incredible support. It's essentially Raid Zoro, but buffed. I mean, previously being 1.3, now going to 1.5. What more could you ask for? This is a phenomenal support effect that will definitely see lots of play. Now, another thing that we can talk about is his PvP, because, dude, if we thought Luffy and Straw Hats were powerful before in PvP, they're going to get even better now that we have access to some crazy free spirit support. Oden is an attack style unit, and his attack, or his special that he does in Rumble, 31 CT is pretty high, but he gives your free spirit characters a level 7 attack for 20 seconds, and then he targets enemies in a large range horizontal for 3.5 times his attack, and 70% chance of action bind. I assume that the action bind for 70% chance is also in that same range of horizontal large range. So essentially, whoever he hits, he can also 70% chance action bind them. That's really good special. 31 is pretty high, so having some CT reduction for his team would make sense. Hopefully some of the rare recruits are pretty strong as well. We'll have to wait and see. But his passive as well, his passive is so good. Free Spirit class teammates get level 6 attack, level 6 health, level 3 defense, and for the first 40 seconds, your side teammates get level 3 defense. So he is giving himself an additional level 3 defense for the first 40 seconds, and any other side base unit you run. Bro, as I said, if we thought Luffy and the Straw Hats was good before, adding this on top of it is exceptional, and we still have another legend to talk about as well, which is going to make this even better. So the next character that we have to talk about is going to be Denjiro and Kinemon, and it looks like they're going to be more slasher and free spirit based. Now, Kinemon is a Psy unit, and Denjiro is a quick unit, so that's pretty cool. And they have hunger, which is no real surprise to anybody. That's cool. Okay, either way, let's talk about their captain effect. Now, this is only showing their dual captain effect, but just know that their singular captain effect is likely going to be pretty close to this, at least if we go by current meta. So the captain ability boosts slasher and free spirit by 5x, health by 1.5, so lots of health, slightly boosts the chances of landing recovery slots, and changes recovery into Wano. So that's both a good and a bad thing, because previous to this, characters that just naturally give you Wano slots as a captain have changed the tandem slot, because the tandem slot is just completely like unusable, like no one really uses it for anything. But this character now changes recovery, which, now that you think about it, like if you use V1 Oden as like a hybrid with this and this guy, any recovery and tandem slot now becomes a Wano slot and a dex slot because of 6+ Oden. Like, that's actually crazy to think about, just some of the things you can do with that. That's crazy in and of itself. But the fact that you don't get recovery slots anymore, as I said, it can be both a good and a bad thing, because you're not healing, which sucks, but you are getting a Wano slot in replace of that. So it is what it is. But then it also says that if you attack with super effective damage, you get a Wano slot in the following turn. So hypothetically, if you have your Kinemon, who is a Psy unit, and he attacks an int character hitting for super effective damage, you get a guaranteed Wano slot. So that's great. That's a really, really good captain ability there. And the special ability is also very good. 13 turn cooldown, 20% health cut that goes through everything, reduces 6 turns of Rainbow Shield and Blue Shield, and then boosts Slasher and Free Spirit characters' slot effects by 2.75 times for 1 turn, giving them a 500 base attack boost as well, and fusing for 3 turns. Just a great special ability there, and works very well with Oden, because Oden is color affinity and can potentially grant you that attack boost, and this guy is your orb booster. Remember, if you use Oden first, and then you use this special, this actually becomes a 3 times orb boost, so keep that in mind. This is a very powerful special ability. One of the crewmate effects just gives some base stats. This one here, for the other one, makes quick slots matching. That's actually pretty good as a crewmate effect. But then we get to one of the most confusing points of the video. It's going to be the most contentious point is their switch effect, because it actually introduces a brand new mechanic into the game. So if we have a look at their switch effect, changes the character slot into matching and applies a minus 20% to enemies' slasher resistance for 1 turn. So, I mean, I don't know what the hell this means. This is a brand new mechanic that's coming into the game. 20% reduction to enemies' slasher resistance. So in my head, when I first read this, I'm like, does that mean that so that's implying that enemies have a resistance to slashes in the first place for you to minus their resistance in the first place, right? It's very, very weird. So over here on the Twitter, there's actually also this video here. You can see in the very top here that when you use their switch effect, this is the icon that happens. So this is the slasher resistance minus 20% or minus whatever percentage of their resistance. And you see it does go through immunity, which is very interesting. But this video in and of itself does not show the enemy gaining a new buff that just resists slashes damage, you know? So a lot of people have had a couple theories, you know. One theory is there's going to be a new buff or debuff added to the enemy that allows them to just resist damage from certain colors or certain classes of units. We've seen that before though, because when people have like a damage immunity, people can have damage immunity to certain colors. That's not like uncommon, that's not unheard of. So what stops them from doing a damage immunity or a damage reduction specifically for classes instead of colors? That could definitely be a possibility. I like another theory though that said that what if this is a new form of increased damage taken? What if hypothetically like all enemies actually just have a resistance to everything, but it's just like set to 0, like hypothetically, stick with me here. And what if this resistance just takes that and just minuses it by 20%? So what if this just gives your slasher characters an additional 1.2 damage to everybody? That would be crazy if that's the case. And that would be even more crazy if we have a look at their super switch, as it says it changes all character slots into matching and applies a minus 50% to the enemy's slasher resistance for 1 turn. So again, as I said, if this actually classifies it as an increased damage taken kind of effect, just getting a 1.5 boost would be absolutely absurd, because that can be stacked with so many different things. But I hope it is that, because if it isn't, then this is probably one of the worst switches that we've seen in a really long time, because this switch effect doesn't really give you that much. A matching slot and then minus resistance. Again, we don't know what the resistance really means, because if it does classify it as increased damage taken, this switch effect is incredible. If it does not, then I don't know how useful it's going to be. Also, just for those of you who are wondering, it actually takes you 6 switches to get their super switch. So it does take you quite a lot to get to it, which would probably go into that theory of it being increased damage taken, because that's pretty excessive to get that. It means like in Kizuna, for example, that's going to be very difficult to get. Not unachievable, but difficult. So I don't really know how useful that's going to be, but their captain ability and their special ability are very strong, so I'm very, very happy about that. And then of course, we'll quickly look at their Part Rumble stuff. Their special ability, 27 CT, targets 2 enemies guaranteed for 2 times their attacker's damage, and Free Spirit class teammates get a 500 healing per interval, which goes very well with Luffy and the Straw Hats, and also targets the Slasher teammates for level 8 attack, level 8 speed, level 8 recovery. So lots of buffs given to your Slasher characters. That's really, really good. And their passive, Free Spirit class teammates get level 6 health, level 6 attack, and your Psy characters get level 5 recovery. I don't really know how good that is, because like Psy characters aren't very good for recovery, or you typically don't run recovery characters on an offensive based team, unless if you really want to go out of your way to run a Psy Free Spirit character that heals, but I don't really know how good that's going to be. Definitely offensive though. This with Oden, with Luffy and the Straw Hats, is going to be an absolute bomb of a team, and I really want to pull all these characters just to trial that team out, because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty good. We'll have to wait and see what some of the other rare recruits do though in this batch, because this has the potential to be probably one of the best PvP teams in the game. I'm not even kidding. So with all that being said, guys, that is going to wrap up today's One Piece Treasure Cruise video. Now, if we do get the data download for the whole new batch, I'll likely bring you guys another video, because we have the icons and stuff. So we are expecting a data download today or tomorrow, so expect that. And hopefully the Sugo-Fest is good as well. We really hope. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video today, and if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure you go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.